Here's a question for you. Have you ever wondered just how much money an ice cream shop makes? Now, I did own 10 of them. I've still got 2, and we're standing outside one of them right now. So I know a thing or two about this type of business. And in this video, I'm going to break down the profit and loss of my actual businesses, what's the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats of this type of business. Let's get into it. Now, before we dive in, if you've got team members that are managing budgets, costs or day-to-day spend, I've got a solution that will seriously simplify things, and there's a £200 welcome bonus up for grabs. Sounds delicious. We're here in Westcliff-on-Sea in Essex, outside the Rossi Ice Cream Parlour. Now, this has been an ice cream parlour for nearly a century. It's part of a brand that makes ice cream. We also own the ice cream factory of the Rossi Company, and I bought this parlour around 2.5 years ago. It goes like gangbusters. It's a unicorn. I don't think there's another ice cream shop in the country that's doing this sort of revenues. So we have to look at this one in isolation. I am going to bring you the numbers, the profit and loss, but also we need to look at another one that we own that's down the road that does nowhere near these amounts of numbers. So let's get inside and break it down. When I bought the ice cream factory, I actually didn't own any of the shops. So how did this all come about? It wasn't always like that, because years ago, Pietro Rossi started Rossi Ice Cream. In the 1920s and 30s, he came to the UK from Italy as an immigrant, and he set up shop in Glasgow. Then came to sunny Southend-on-Sea on his holidays, and he was looking around to buy an ice cream, but there was no ice cream for sale, because back in the 20s and 30s, freezers and ice cream was an innovative product. It was new. So he decided to leave Glasgow and set up shop down here in Essex. He opened his first shop, number 99, High Street, Southend-on-Sea. And his signature ice cream was the 99. And we like that little story about how we are the owners of the original 99. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but I love peddling the story. He had children, and they took the business on. They continued to grow it. They ended up with a fleet of 25 ice cream vans. They were a seriously wealthy family. But the fourth and last generation had no children. And so that person, he decided to look at the business and he thought, do you know what? I've got no kids. I'm going to sell off parts of the business. He sold the ice creams off. He sold the factory off to someone. He sold all the shops off to a different person. He unfortunately died and gave half his money to the Catholic Church and the other half to a cat charity. True story. Anyway, I bought the factory back first of all, and then I've started buying all the other bits up to vertically integrate it so that you're making the ice cream, owning the brand, selling it wholesale, selling it direct to consumer, like the original Rossi family did. And that's how I've ended up in this place, by buying this shop. Now, I know you nosy little parkers just want to know the profit and loss, and that's all coming up. I'm going to break it down, show you it here in this video. But before we go any further, on this shop alone, I want to tell you, this is a unicorn and rainbow situation. This is a weekday. It is absolutely full up here. I can't replicate that anywhere else. In fact, I even tried. I had 10 shops selling ice cream, and now I've only got 2 because it is so hard to get them to scale up. What makes this shop unique is it gets bifties, dinks and woofties. What's a wooftie? That's well off over 50. What's a dink? Dual income, no kids. What's a bifty? Broke in your 40s. They're all in here because it's affordable and easy to do, plus kids, plus teenagers. Honestly, I cannot replicate it, and I've tried. So don't think this is the norm. Now, my other ice cream shop does around 20% of the revenue of this one. And all of that is going to come up in the profit and loss later on. What I've learned about these businesses is if you can break even in the winter, you have then got a chance of making money on your high days and holidays. And that's what this shop does, and that's what I couldn't do with the other 10. I was living for the weekends, but you still got loads of costs Monday to Friday, and that's why so many restaurants and coffee shops close. That's why only the unicorns survive, unfortunately. Look at this. No one next to us, no one above us. A unique location that cannot be replicated. In front of me is this beautiful sea that people want to come and sit, and Doris wants to watch the world go by. The other thing that really helps is a cash flow ecosystem. There's not many ice cream shops that break even in the winter, as I said earlier. It's because we do a really good food offering that's really good value for money. that people have been coming here for years and ordering the same stuff. They've come here with their granddads, they come here with their great-granddads. We've had marriages, we've had people have wakes here, we've had people get engaged here. And all of that mixed together with 100 years of history is not something that I can easily replicate. Now, our other site, which we're going to now, has its own set of challenges. Here's something to ponder. If your business is growing, like the Rossi Ice Cream Parlour, you're doing lots of stuff as a business owner, you've probably got staff and you need to manage their expenses. Quickly, that can turn into a nightmare and a big juggling act. It can be really stressful when you've got so much to do. That's where Revolut Business is here to help. It can take all the stress away from such a thing. Here's how I use Revolut Business in my ice cream parlour and all my other companies. I use it to manage staff expenses by issuing out virtual or physical cards. You can do that all on the dashboard. Really simple to do, and you can set individual spending limits. Flipping fantastic. Revolut Business even syncs with your HR tools, so employee management is much smoother. You can also set up automated payments to staff and suppliers, so managing all of that doesn't become a full-time job, leaving you time to make more profit and actually grow the revenue in your business. Whether it's your teams managing delivery costs, utility costs, or buying in loads of ingredients like we do for our ice cream factory and our ice cream shops, Revolut Business allows you to stay in control and your team stay accountable on what they're spending. So if you're ready to streamline your business spending and make your team have tools to work smarter, why not sign up to Revolut Business? And here's the good news, you can get that £200 welcome bonus. All you need to do is put some money in your Revolut Business account before September 30th, 2025, just a little bit of money, and then you get that £200 welcome bonus. How do you do it? Well, there's a link in my bio to sign up, or this QR code that's on screen right now. Big thank you to Revolut Business for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to it. Behind me is the second ice cream shop that I own, which is actually an older ice cream shop than the other one, which is just a mile down the road. Now, obviously you'll see not a big queue of people out here. That's because this one doesn't have the parking out the front, doesn't have the sea in front, actually has a theme park in front, so we've got a very different situation here. Plus, ladies and gentlemen, size, I found out, really does matter. It might go back a long way, but it's got neighbours either side and it doesn't have that wide frontage, which gives you a real castle sense of appeal. Now, when we do the profit and loss later on, you'll see how colossally different these are in terms of profitability. We're in the Rossi Ice Cream factory now. Now, most ice cream shops don't make their ice cream. They actually buy from people like us. And that gives us a real unfair advantage in terms of profitability. We do, when I show you the profit and loss later, do sell our ice cream at the same wholesale prices that we would sell to an independent coffee shop that sells ice cream. So this is going to be quite real, the numbers that I'm going to show you. So this is how it all works, gang. We have a pasteurising room over there that gets all the individual ingredients, your butter, your cream, your milk, your skim milk powder, your sugar. Obviously sugar goes in ice cream. And it's pumped over these very expensive pipes. And for the business owners amongst you, they were about £80,000. There's really special stainless steel food grade stuff. Goes into the aging vats at the back. Similar to like when you're making alcohol, you have to age the mix for a day, obviously a lot longer for alcohol. Then it goes in the continuous freezers and then into this hardening room. Think about all this cost before we've even got it to the ice cream shop. There we go, gang. That's roughly how this ice cream factory works. I thought it'd be interesting to just give a bit of context to you on this video. Let's look at some numbers. Right, gang, now we're going to go through the numbers of running a business like this. I've always said hospitality and leisure is devilishly difficult. And I've got real experience of this because most of my businesses have always been hospitality and leisure, but I've got my fingers in lots of other pies, in childcare, in manufacturing, in distribution. Hospitality and leisure is just being hammered with a cocktail of turnover taxes. You think about the VAT, the employer's national insurance, the business rates, the insurance premium tax, the corporation tax, the green levy tax on all your utilities. Most of that comes in before you've even got a chance of making a profit for yourself. And here's a fun fact for you. Since I've bought Rossi, the factory, the shops, everything, I have not had a penny into my personal bank account from it. All I've done is pay my teams and invest and try and repair the business. Now I can see a 10-year plan that this is going to be fantastic again. So let's have a look at the strengths, weaknesses and opportunities and threats. So ice cream. What's the strength of it? It's a high margin product. Everyone loves it. Everyone knows what it is. People love, want, trust it, know it. I think all of that is really important. What's the weaknesses? It's huge seasonality. Oh man, you've got this roller coaster in terms of turnover. The opportunities is it's for whole of market. I love this. It's one of the best things that I've learned in the last 5 years of being in business. And certainly Rossi opened that up to me. Roller City opened that up to me. Cafe Deli opened that up to me. If you are selling to whole of market, a bigger demographic, there's many more millions of people around that can buy from you. What's the threats? Well, the threats are too much rain. I'm really going to just say that like that. And it's obviously a low barrier to entry business. I mean, what really protects us as an ice cream vendor is our 100-year-old brand of multi-generational people going there. But actually, there's lots of people that makes ice cream. So big threats, big weaknesses of this business is highly commoditized. Right, let's break down that P&L. Now, what I've got here is something that I live by, and I urge you to do it in your businesses. These are called my DISs, daily income sheets, more sexily known as dashboards. Getting a monthly profit and loss. Sometimes you don't get the data until the 10th or the 15th or even the 20th of the month after it's happened, because you've got to collate all the invoices, the bookkeeping needs to be done. So I'm a big fan of dashboards that give you a snapshot on a daily basis of the key performance indicators in your business. What are the 3 KPIs that you should be tracking as business owners? Number 1, a monthly profit and loss. I just spoke about that, but you need to understand them more than annual accounts. Really important you produce a monthly profit and loss. Number 2 is your labour to turnover ratio. What are we spending on labour as a percentage of our turnover? That's what the dashboards pick up. And number 3, your ACV, your average customer value. And what I've been harping on for years to business owners is love average customer value increases more than turnover increases. See, I think business owners track turnover so much because it's the easiest metric to follow. We did $1 million in revenue this year. I'd like to get to 2 million next year. Why? A second thing that's easier to track that usually translates more to the bottom line is average customer value. What if you get your average customer value from 10 quid to £11? That extra pound, once you've already got that customer, a big chunk of those pennies in that extra pound translates to the bottom line. Whether you're an accountant, whether you're a solicitor, whether you're a mechanic, whether you're an MOT station, whether you're a builder or running an ice cream shop, you should be tracking your average customer value. And that's what these dashboards do. They also track what I'm spending on labour. Here's the interesting thing. Now, the other shop, I'm just going to talk about labour right now. The other shop I was talking about, the smaller one, the second one we saw, they can do £1,500 in a day in just ice cream sales. We don't sell any food there. They might do some takeaway drinks and some slushies as well, of which we also make. Out of that, they could have around 20 hours of staff looking after £1,500 or even £1,800 worth of revenue. So we've got super low turnover ratio compared to the revenue coming in. Now, without me breaking down a profit and loss, I can tell you, because I know the margins on ice cream, 70+% when you're retailing it in a situation like an ice cream shop, it's actually closer to 80%, you're making serious money on those days. The problem is the current bun, the sun, doesn't shine enough for that to be 365 days a year. That shop is doing around £250,000 worth of annual revenue, and we're working really hard to get to it. But in January, we close the thing. In December, we close the thing. So we've got business rates, we've got rents, we've got overheads to cover with zero nada coming in. So what you have to do there is be like a little squirrel and store up all your nuts in the summer to get through the winter. So that shop breaks even at best for me. Now, we've got some plans to put some money in there to put some restaurant space at the back and try and make it less seasonal to fix that. Now, let's look at the original shop that we saw. Now, remember I told you, unicorns and rainbows here, gang. Let's break down this dashboard. This one on the screen here, this is January and this one is August. Now, these are so small that I'm going to have to translate to you. Over here, you can see our net turnover is £50,000. That's what we brought in January. The gross turnover is £61,000. There you go. Straight away, a turnover tax of disgustingly high rates of VAT gone. Average transactional value was £9,000. So everyone that's coming with us, when they come in the shop, they're spending on average £9. That could be buying 2 coffees for a friend, or they could be buying a bacon sandwich or a full English breakfast, or indeed ice cream. We list down the wastage that we make each and every single day and the amount of hours used. You'll see here that a whopping 54% of our turnover went on wages. So of that £50,000, £27,000 went on wages. So I know that in January we've absolutely lost money, because when you add in the business rates, when you add in the pension costs, when you add in the employer's national insurance, when you add in the electric costs and the rent, you're not making money. So let's have a look at August now, which if you've got an ice cream shop, you don't need to be Sherlock Holmes or the governor of the Bank of England to work out that you're going to sell more ice cream in August than January. Interesting fact here, look at the card takings. We did £141,000 in card takings and £32,000 in cash. So card has absolutely taken over, but we have noticed cash takings are slowly increasing compared to 18 and 24 months ago, and I think that's to do with people budgeting with cash. But obviously card takings are way in front, and actually really expensive to bank cash, and your insurance costs go up. But we're still taking cash. So we took £174,000 in August. And these are gross numbers, so that includes VAT, gang, compared to 61,000 gross in January. What a huge difference. What a huge difference. So this is 174,000 in August, 61,000 gross in January. Let's have a look now at average customer value. Really interesting to see. Average customer value was £9 gross in January and hopscotched to £10.13 in August. Now, why is that? Well, obviously, we've got more staff on managing queues. We've had to put prices up because of inflationary pressures, certainly because of wage rises. And over here, you can still see that we spent 38% of our turnover on labour. So it's gone down from 54% in January to 38% in August. This, by the way, is still way too high. Go back 10 years ago, that would have been 25%. That really gives you stark comparisons of just how much it's costing to employ people now. And you can't put the price of ice creams and coffees and lattes and drinks up enough to compensate that. Really, an ice cream should be a tenner now. A coffee should be a tenner now to get all of these equilibriums in turnover taxes to be in the same way. Very interesting. £10.13 average customer value in August. Very good. I mean, that just sort of shows me a big lesson here, because usually you'd see on quieter days or quieter months, your average customer value will be higher than when you're busier. So big congratulations to the team for making sure that increases in our busiest month. I'm very happy with that. So what does the total revenue look like in that shop? So let's have a look. It's 1.5 million of gross revenue. That's what we do over the 12 months. What does that look like in profitability? Make around 150k. And what happens to that 150k? 25% of that will now go on corp tax. So goodbye to a big chunk there. And then you've got repairs, and then you've got loan interest, refurbs. You very quickly see how your £150,000 disappears. And then if we've got 50,000 spare after paying all of that, that will then go to our head office cost to run all of our head office team to manage the place. The other place does around £250,000 revenue and breaks even, and we need to work on that to try and bring that to profitability. If I could have a mean average on what ice cream shops do around the country, I would say between £250,000 and £350,000 worth of revenue is the average for a coffee shop and an ice cream shop combined, and they'll be probably paying themselves just about wages. It's only really when your shop goes past 600,000 of annual revenue can you start thinking this is going to be a commercially profitable enterprise that works without me in it. And like any of these things, one of the big things that we've learned at the Rossi Parlour is we sell around £450,000, £500,000 worth of hot food a year, and we break even and probably lose a little bit of money on that, because by the time you've cleaned all your fryers, bought new equipment and done all of that stuff, It's very difficult to make money from hot food unless, in my opinion, you're doing over £1 million worth of hot food revenue. Very expensive for chefs and hot food people to come and work. Hot food for people that can cook hot food to come and work for you. You've got to have really expensive equipment. You've got to manage it. You've got to manage wastage. So you need real economies of scale to do really well. All the best restaurants that I come across, 2.5, 3 million plus worth of revenue to start getting exciting. A really interesting thing, I was with KFC and McDonald's, who was having a round table in hospitality and leisure. KFC and McDonald's are closing stores because they can't get enough revenue in them to cover all the increases in turnover taxes. Bit of a worry really when you hear that McDonald's and KFC are finding this a challenging environment, because historically in economic downturns, they were the people that were doing well. So they're being strict about where they're opening stores and even closing stores. And that's in the county of Essex, where there's over 1.5 million people. Madness. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully there's some golden nuggets for you to swipe and deploy. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you really want to grow your business, why not come along to one of my events? I run live events to help business owners grow their business. The next one I'm running is buying businesses, how you can buy businesses. I think buying businesses really helps you sort of water down, dilute the onslaught of overheads that businesses are finding right now. And it's one of my top tactics. If you'd like to find out more, go to my website, jamessinclair.net, and I'd love to see you live in person to help grow your business. Make sure you like and subscribe.